Hello, welcome to
Papi Approved Movies.
My name is Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
In our podcast, we'll review and critique my favorite PG-13 movies.
Movies that I wasn't allowed to watch until I turned 13.
Every other week, Natalie and I will watch a new PG-13 movie.
And I'll see if Papi's movies live up to the hype.
Which, of course, they will.
Today we're going to be watching Independence Day.
Before we begin, there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie and don't want it to be spoiled,
press pause and come back when you're finished. Now, Papi, tell me the deets on this movie.
Okay. How you doing, Nat?
I'm good.
All right. That sounds like you're ready to do some podcasting today, huh?
Yes.
All right. So Independence Day came out in 1996 with a runtime of 2 hours and 25 minutes. It's streaming on Max. It was written by Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich and directed by Roland Emmerich. Main stars are Will Smith, Bill Pullman, and Jeff Goldblum. Fun facts, this is a movie that made Will Smith an action superstar. And now you know Will Smith for
slapping the other guy.
Slapping Chris Rock at the award show.
I was going to say slapping The Rock, but that didn't sound correct.
I think if he actually slapped The Rock would have probably broken him in half. It would have not gone well for Will Smith.
No, he wouldn't have even had the chance. His arm would have been broken just by hitting him.
Yeah, he would have broke his arm on The Rock's face. Chris Rock, not The Rock. But they have Rock in their name. Yeah. All right, so what do you think of the movie, Nat?
It was entertaining, but it's kind of blending together with the Transformers movie because they're both a little similar, in my opinion. There's both these creatures coming from a different universe, well, not universe, but world, and they're invading and they're trying to get something specific, and then there's a bunch of characters in both.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very similar to Transformers. Has the comedic element as well. It's supposed to be kind of funny, uplifting, and a lot of action.
I do like the Transform. I would prefer the Transformers.
All right, what do you rate it?
3 stars.
All right, 3 stars. I thought it was a good movie. I like watching it again. I liked Will Smith back then. Now, I'm not a big fan of Will Smith, but
it wasn't much of it wasn't that bad, but it was just very mediocre.
Very mediocre.
And like I said, it reminded me of Transformers a lot, and I did like Transformers better, so it was kind of a comparison thing too.
Okay.
Why don't we get into the recap?
Okay. The movie begins on July 2nd. A huge spaceship approaches the moon. At the Pentagon, General Gray gets an alert and notifies Albert, the Secretary of Defense. Yeah, it's the same kind of characters, right? A bunch of people that work in the government and then nobody knows their names, you know?
Yeah.
At the White House, President Whitmore speaks with his wife, Marilyn, who's in L.A. Then his daughter, Patricia, wakes up. He's watching TV where he's getting dragged on the news about his approval rating. Then Albert calls him, informing him of the spaceship. David, a divorced genius from MIT, plays a game of chess with his father, Julius. He goes to work at a telecommunications station. He quickly starts to realize there's a problem with their satellites. He finds a signal going through them, which seems like a countdown. David is played by Jeff Goldblum. You know him from other stuff, right?
He has a documentary.
Yeah. You like him?
No, I don't really know him much.
No.
But I knew what he looked like.
Yeah, he's in Jurassic Park.
I recognized him.
He plays the same character in every movie. He's the neurotic kind of guy who's just kind of weird and
it's
talks funny.
How The Rock has become this guy that's always in a jungle.
Uh-huh.
I've seen back-to-back pictures of different movies he's in, and it looks like the same scene. He's just always in a jungle now.
The Rock?
Yeah.
What does that have to do with Jeff Goldblum?
It's because you're saying that he plays the same role.
Yeah, and sometimes the same actor always plays the same role.
Yeah.
They don't have very much depth. They always just play the same people.
But Ryan, it works.
Yeah, but it works. Ryan Reynolds, he's kind of like the Deadpool character in every movie he does, you know? He's just that funny guy. Because he did that, Pikachu? Wasn't he Pikachu's voice? In Detective Pikachu? Didn't we see that movie?
I watched it, but I don't know voice actors.
Well, you know who he is. Anyways.
I don't. I haven't watched Deadpool. I know he's the owner of Mint Mobile.
Yeah, he is the owner of Mint Mobile. In Imperial Valley, California, a family watches as their father, Russell, crop dusts the wrong field. Russ is a Vietnam vet and a drunk. He claims he was kidnapped by aliens 10 years ago. Everyone thinks he's a joke. That's kind of sad, huh? He's like the dad. He's drunk all the time.
Also, I feel like I don't understand how everyone's like, oh, he's crazy. Like, there's so many conspiracy like theorists out in the world. And also, I feel like as a person, if someone's like, I got abducted by aliens, you would probably be like, really? I want to hear about this.
I think this is a different time in life. This is pre-internet kind of thing. There was the internet, but not really. It wasn't as if everybody had it at this time. I think I got the internet at around this year in college, but I didn't have it before then.
But also, like, I just feel like as a person, like, if I was in class and we had, like, free talk time or whatever, and someone was like, guess what, guys? I met an alien. I'd be like, okay, let's hear your story. Like, this is interesting. He's crazy.
You'd be like, okay, whatever. I don't want to hear your madness.
I want to hear the madness.
I don't know. I think the internet has made us all crazy, so maybe back before then, people didn't want to hear anything that sounded ridiculous. Although it's not ridiculous after all. Do you think he was actually abducted 10 years ago from these same aliens? Great commentary. Thank you for your sharing of the spaceship releases about 3 dozen smaller ships which start going to Earth. They're about 15 miles in diameter, so they're not very little, they're huge. They begin to appear over big cities throughout the world, and everyone begins to panic. 3 spaceships come to the US, one in LA, one in New York City, and one in Washington, D.C. The president addresses the nation, telling everyone to stay calm. We're going to talk to these guys. They're going to be our friends. You think that if they start going to huge cities like that, you think they're going to be... Like, if you're going to have 36 spaceships come to Earth, they're not trying to be friendly.
I don't know.
Wouldn't just one spaceship come then? You know, like, hi, we want to communicate with you. Maybe we can do trading.
But what if the humans are like, no, and then they shoot everyone? Like, wouldn't you want to wage war immediately? Have your backup already there?
So you would want to, if the spaceship came into our atmosphere, you blow it up immediately. That's what you would do?
I don't have a gun.
You are terrible right now. In LA, fighter pilot Captain Steve Hiller wakes up with his girlfriend Jasmine and her son Dylan. When he finds out what's happening, he reports to his base. He asks Jasmine to pack up some things and come and stay at the base with him. Steve has a ring picked out because he's about to ask her to marry him. Oh, how romantic. All right, Natalie.
Keep my wife's name out of your mouth.
David tries to warn, so you can't get past it now. Like, you can't. All right. Well, I guess a whole new generation of people. He was really good in his TV show, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I watched only one other thing with him, and I watched half of it, was I Am Legend.
Yeah, I didn't like that movie.
I stopped watching it because I got scared.
No, you. David tries to warn his ex-wife, Connie, who works for the president, but she doesn't want to hear it. He's still in love with her, and wears his wedding ring. He asks his dad to drive him to D.C. so he can tell the president in person that the aliens are intending to attack. Once they get to Washington, David convinces them about the signal, and the president orders everyone to evacuate Washington, New York, and L.A. The countdown gets to 0 and the alien destroys all the famous cities around the world. They've begun their attack. The president makes it out with his staff, David and Julius. The first lady is caught in an explosion and presumed dead. Jasmine and Dylan get lucky and survive the bombing, and Russ and his family drive into the desert with their RV in a caravan.
That was the most action-packed scene when a dog jumps from the explosion and gets saved.
Yeah, the dog makes it. Right?
Yeah, but that was like the most like action-filled part.
Well, the explosion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was the biggest explosion in the whole thing.
Yeah. Everything else would just kind of like destroy everything.
Yeah.
Then there is the final attack scene. Pretty good action.
But they don't have this dog jumping in after and with an explosion behind him.
So if the dog was flying the jets, it would have been more exciting?
No, if it was a human jumping behind explosions, that would be more exciting.
Okay. The wrong rock, right? We would need the rock to do this movie. On July 3rd, the world is in ruins. At the military base, Steve, his best friend Jimmy, and their squad of Black Knights prepare to attack the aliens. When they get to the spaceship, the Black Knights realize that the aliens have a force field that will not allow missiles to get through. Then the spaceship releases alien fighter jets and they decimate the entire Black Knight squadron. The alien fighter jets also have the force field. Only Steve survives by outmaneuvering one of their jets, getting it to crash land. Steve goes into the jet and knocks the alien pilot out. There's action right there. Whole movie's action.
Boring.
In LA, Jasmine and Dylan get a truck and start picking up survivors. They find Marilyn, the First Lady, and bring her with them. At this time, the president also finds out that Area 51 is real and the Air Force One goes there. So he didn't know about it before. You think that there's stuff that the president doesn't know about?
Yeah, that's probably false. Actually, no, I believe it. Because if you think about it, like, what if the president goes crazy or something and then just starts leaking a bunch of information?
Well, they would probably just, like, put him to sleep and knock him out.
No, but what if they're like didn't get elected or something, and then they're on a giant like podium for a speech, and they're like, by the way, there's aliens and there's this stuff and they're all in there.
Yeah,
like they can't do anything. It's on live TV, and like they can put them in jail or whatever, but that doesn't stop the information from getting out.
Yeah, that's true. And then people were like, it's real. The president said it. And then like 100 people would come out like, it's fake news. It's not real. The president's crazy. In the desert, Steve is dragging the alien in his parachute when he comes upon Russ and his family. They offer him a ride and they all go to Area 51. When the president arrives at Area 51, lead scientist Dr. Okun shows him alien remains in one of their spaceships. We find out that they're organic and they're similar to us, although they speak through telepathy and are all connected. Like a hive brain, like you and your sister. Although you and your sister don't have a hive brain anymore, do you?
Not really.
When Steve in the caravan shows up, before you guys were a hive brain, you have to look at each other, talk to each other in your minds, and then just make a decision. Like, what do you guys want for dinner? And you guys look at each other for like 5 seconds. And then you both answer, Chili's, like in unison, simultaneously.
Now she doesn't ever know she wants, and I want everything.
You're thinking chili, she's thinking chicken sandwich.
She's thinking la 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 la.
She's thinking AP Guff. When Steve and the caravan show up, they get inside immediately. Dr. Okun is happy to see the alive alien. Steve asks about going back to the airbase. General Gray tells him that it's been destroyed. At the same time, Jasmine gets to the airbase expecting to find Steve and sees that it's been decimated. So they think each other is dead. Dr. Okun and his crew begin operating on the alien, and it kills them all and communicates through Okun. He tells them that there is no peace, and all the aliens want it to destroy Earth.
I don't understand the point of this.
Yeah, let me finish this paragraph and then totally, I'm with you. I don't get it. Then the president orders the alien killed and a nuclear strike on the spaceship. They launch the nuke, but the force field stops it as well. What do you don't get about the operation?
Why would you invade an entire country and be like, actually, you all need to die? Like,
Because they want the resources.
But it doesn't really make sense.
This is exactly what happened in human history. It was from the conquistadores who wanted all the natural resources.
Okay, but like...
colonization.
But even like histories, like what were they thinking?
No, we know what they were thinking. Greed. It's money. The answer to every question is money.
No. But I was like, first of all, the aliens are weird. Second of all, I don't think that the U.S. is very smart thinking like, oh, we can fight them. Like clearly their technology is thousands of years more advanced.
Yeah, so...
You think a bunch of guns is just gonna like work?
Well, they do beat them at the end, so it does work. They figure out a way to beat them. The one thing that I think, so they're operating... We know that the alien is not dead. He comes at Steve, the Will Smith character, and he just punches him out, remember? Knocks him out, then they bring him into the operating room. They start cutting him open. Why are they cutting him open? Like, what is the point of that? And second, why were they shocked that the alien woke up? The alien's not dead.
Was he cryogenically freezed or whatever?
No.
Cryogenic?
No, he was the one that... He took him out of the spaceship. He's the one that he brought in with his parachute. He brought a live one in. What are they operating on? Like, they can put him in a room and try to figure out the way he moves.
Well, they can't kill him.
Well, they did kill him because they shot him to death.
Oh, I thought they couldn't because Steve shot him like 5 times.
No, he doesn't shoot him. He just knocks him out. He just punches him in the face.
Oh.
Like, welcome to Earth, buddy, or something like that. He has, I guess, a line. Punches him out, drags him in the desert, and then they give him a ride. It goes to Area 51, which he knew about. He said, take me to this base. And then the guy's like,
find it.
yeah. And then the guy's like, there's nothing there. He's like, trust me, there's something there. So Steve knew more than the president about Area 51 existing and where it was. That's why he brought the alien there. But then more importantly, why did they think they were going to operate on this alien? And then the other thing is the whole movie they're talking about blowing off nuclear weapons and how terrible it is and it's going to destroy Earth. And then they do hit it with a nuclear weapon. It doesn't work. And there's no consequences. We don't talk about it at all. All the radiation that goes off of it, you know?
Yeah. And I don't understand why Steve didn't just shoot him in the first place.
Well, they wanted to bring him alive. And they use him for important information. They realize, guess what? They're not here to be peaceful, which I think we would have assumed that it was not, because they brought 36 spaceships down. And then by this point, they already destroyed the 36 capitals of the world, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. This whole part is just really dumb.
But it was strange that no one got radiation poisoning.
They didn't talk about it anymore. And that's just the U.S. who threw a nuclear bomb at it. Who knows what the Russians did or the Chinese did or like the British, you know what I mean? Like,
but it doesn't even matter because like the people that were right there, like the first lady was literally in the ruins of radiation and she was perfectly fine.
And what, she dies?
But that was from internal bleeding or something.
Yeah, we don't know what happened. And we also don't know where they did the...
Or the girl, the younger girl. Well, not a girl. The woman. Like the wife.
Yeah, Jasmine.
Jasmine and her son. They both literally jumped. They jumped from an explosion into like this subway system.
Yeah, but that wasn't the nuclear weapon.
Oh.
They shot the nuclear weapon after. That was their weapon. Who knows what they're using for their weaponry. You're right, though. They might have radiation-based weaponry as well. And that's what they did to blow up all the places.
Things that the U.S. doesn't even know about.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Steve still hopes to find Jasmine and steals a helicopter to look for her. Miraculously, Steve finds Jasmine and her crew in the gigantic city of Los Angeles. Not a city, like a gigantic county. Tons and tons and tons of people. Everything is destroyed. There. No, there's still going to be survivors. The 8 people that are in her truck aren't the only survivors that made it. There has to be others, you know? And then he finds her in like 4 minutes. Brings her back. And then, yeah. Anyways, he finds her. He brings them all back, including the First Lady. She meets Whitmore and Patricia, but dies shortly after. So she was going to die anyways. 4th of July now. David's depressed and drunk. His father talks to him and tells him to get off the floor before he catches a cold. That gives Dave the idea of infecting the aliens with a computer virus to lower their force fields. He gets to work and figures it out. The plan is to fly the old alien ship from Area 51 to the mothership, infect it with the virus, and blow it up with a nuke. It should lower the force fields, and they can begin to destroy the spaceships on Earth. Steve volunteers to fly the ship and accompany David. Alright, so this spaceship came in like the 50s or 60s, right? 40 years ago, 50 years ago. And they're going to take this spaceship into the mother spaceship. And they're going to like, all right, come on in. Welcome back.
And also, they lost one ship 50 years ago. It's probably all in their history books. Yeah, we lost that one F512 ship 2000. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's crazy. I wonder what happened to that. And then you suddenly see a F1 ship 2000 and you're like, oh my God, welcome back. Well,
yeah. I mean, you think they just said, oh, this is one of the other ships. So in 50 years, the aliens didn't make any new models of the ship. I mean, you look at a car. Like, my car is 24 years old and there's no car that looks like my car now. You know what I mean? Like, a Honda Civic looks different than it did 4 years ago, 10 years ago. 50 years ago, the cars didn't look like they do now. And they're like,
One year later, the model is different.
I know. So, but they're like, they didn't change their models. They only change it every 300 years or something like that. So, anyway, so they get in. Worldwide, the president tells all the countries that they will lower their force fields soon, and they should get prepared to attack on his signal. At Area 51, they recruit pilots to help attack the spaceship once the force fields are down. Russ joins the cause. All right, here's the other part that I think is kind of ridiculous. You're going to get a bunch of nobodies to fly these jets. They have enough jets, but they don't have enough pilots, right? What happened to all of the middle of America? Are there no pilots in any state other than New York? Washington, D.C. area and California.
Maybe they all died.
Where? No, nobody else got blown up. It was just those 3 cities that got messed up.
Oh.
How about all the pilots in Texas and Kansas and North Dakota?
There's nothing
and
in
Illinois.
North Dakota.
And to our own North Dakota listeners, we didn't mean that. At least Natalie didn't mean it.
Joke.
The joke. But yeah, where are all those pilots? They could have called them in. Instead of stealing a helicopter to go find these people in LA, they could have been on the phone. They're like, hey, can you send people from Air Force Base, Kentucky? And we know there are Army bases in Kentucky, right?
All I know is that I've never met a person from North Dakota. It's a hoax.
So you're saying that North Dakota doesn't... Oh my gosh. We're going to lose our listeners. Many listeners from North Dakota. We apologize.
Because all of our listeners are from North Dakota.
Yeah, most of our listeners are from North Dakota.
Is that because they're non-existent?
What are you talking about? We have millions of listeners and about 83% are from North Dakota. It's a huge, huge state of Papi approved listeners. Okay. Anyways, Russ joins the cause. The big drunk guy who at the beginning of the movie can't even do his job correctly.
And everyone says he's a crazy.
And then although now nobody thinks he's crazy because he did actually see aliens before and they do exist. So it's go time. The president makes a moving speech and gets into the jet to fight alongside his soldiers. Steve and Jasmine get married. Meanwhile, like right then, they just have to get married before he's about to die.
That's like smart.
I guess. Meanwhile, Connie and David rekindle their love. David and Steve leave the atmosphere and get aboard the ship, not recognizing that the ship is 100 years older than the other ones out there, but that's okay. On the mothership, they upload the virus and try to escape, but unfortunately, they're stuck. Once the virus takes hold, the planes can start making damage on the aliens. The fight is going well, but they do not have the firepower to destroy the spaceship. The spaceship opens up to prepare to shoot their main gun. The president realizes that their only chance to destroy the ship is to shoot inside the ship. He fires his missile but misses. Russ is the only jet left with a missile. He tries to shoot it, but it jams and gets stuck. Then Russ sacrifices himself and flies right into the ship. The plan works, and the entire ship is destroyed. Meanwhile, on the mothership, Steve and David agree to sacrifice themselves and shoot the nuke. Fortunately, they are released once they shoot their missile and fly out of there in just the nick of time. They barely escape and crash land on Earth, where everyone drives to them as they walk away from the wreck. The world is saved. We see the alien ships in ruins all around the world. The end. It is kind of like an up movie, you know, like a make you feel good movie. Like it's exciting, like go America, Independence Day. And that's why we're releasing it on the week of our own independence here in the USA. All right. So could this movie still be made today?
Probably.
And that's all you got, just probably?
I don't really remember much of this movie.
We have been very, very busy here at
Papi Approved Studios.
At Papi Approved Studios, and we watched this movie maybe a month ago, and we fell really behind. Natalie had so much work to do for schooling and beginning of summer.
And I also lost my notebook. And
you lost your notebook because you had so much work to do. You can't clean your room, right? Is that what it is?
Exactly.
All right. I think it could still be made today. I don't know if it would still be. Is there do we still have that kind of, not patriotism, but like that kind of huh?
Stupidity, considering a lot of these parts don't work.
You're going to watch a movie that's just as dumb as this at any time in history, okay? People watch movies that are dumb all the time, so. And this wasn't dumb. This was a great movie. It's Papi approved. But what I'm saying is, do we have that kind of patriotism now still?
They just made a movie about the Civil War.
Yeah, but it was about the lack of patriotism.
Yeah, so now the next movie in the theater will be about bringing it back. Go America! Yay!
I'm just saying, if the president...
And the fact that people still celebrate 4th of July, which is when this is going to be released, shows that yay America!
I don't know. I mean, if we had a president, whatever president's the winning president, half the nation hates them. So you're not going to have a president like in this movie where President Whitmore makes people feel happy to be American. Because half of the people would be like, Well, the reason the aliens are here is because of the president. Like, they would blame him.
Well, he did get hate on the TV.
Yeah, he wasn't popular for no reason. I guess he wasn't doing very good as a president. But then he got the love of everyone. The whole world came together behind him. I don't think that can happen anymore. I'm just saying. Our nation is too divided that we wouldn't have the patriotism to love our president, no matter who he was. Sorry, no matter who they were. Could be a she, right? Okay, I guess you don't agree. There will never be a female president, I guess. According to Natalie,
I said yes.
You didn't say anything. You moved your head up and down in dubious nature, like saying, no, Dad, we'll probably never have a female president.
I will. In my lifetime. I think there will be a female president in my lifetime.
Of the United States?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's the movie that still won't be made today. All right.
I bet you $100 that when I'm 98, there will be a female president.
Oh, you think it might be earlier than that?
No.
All right. Does it pass the Bechdel test?
I don't think so. Well, actually, okay, there is one. I know it does pass.
All right, let's talk about the Bechdel test. Bechdel test is a test to check for female representation in movies. There are 3 criteria. Criteria number 1, are there 2 or more named females?
There is Jasmine, and then I think does the first lady have a name?
Marilyn.
Yeah, and Marilyn.
Okay.
And there's a daughter, too.
Patricia.
Uh-huh.
Criteria number 2, do they talk to each other?
Yeah. The first lady and Jasmine talk to each other when Jasmine saves her.
Okay. Criteria number 3, do they talk about anything other than a man?
Yep.
What do they talk about?
So the first lady asks, well, so what do you do for a living? And then she says, I'm a dancer. And then the lady's like, what type of dance? Ballet? And she's like, no, exotic. And then the first lady's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then she goes, no, it's okay. I'm really supporting my kids. So that's all that matters.
You're like, don't be. Yeah, it supports my family. Right. All right, so it does pass the Bechdel test.
And then I think the conversation even goes longer. And she's like, to her son, she's like, oh, would you come here, like, meet the first lady? And the first lady's like, oh, you know who I am.
Yeah, but I mean, now the son is there, but he doesn't talk to her, right? Or he like says hello, and there you go. Great movie. Can still be made today. I don't know if we can kind of rally around one leader anymore. I don't know if that's a thing that can happen. And passes the Bechdel test. All right, anything else before we go?
One final sentence.
Go ahead.
Yay, America!
Thank you for tuning in to Papi Approved Movies.
If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast app, or like our podcast on YouTube.
Put out an episode every Monday.
If you want to see more podcast content, follow our TikTok at Papi Approved Movies.
If you want to suggest a movie for us to watch and critique,
email us at papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com.
That's papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com. No spaces, no caps.
We'll try our best to get to your suggestion. And remember, it has to be PG-13.
Next week, Sophia will be back and we'll be watching Desperado.
And I'll be back in 2 weeks to watch My Blue Heaven.
I'm Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
See you next time.
Bye.